Although he looks weak and skinny, he has a deranged hidden power inside of him which allows him to eliminate the most fierce monsters within a blink of an eye. Mikoto is from a world where humans and ogres are archenemies, but mankind as a whole is so weak against them that all they can do is hide in their walled cities when the monsters come to attack. However, this doesn't apply to Mikoto, who travels freely without fear thanks to his sleeper build. So while traveling on one of his journeys, he arrives in the kingdom of Alderaki and immediately bumps into a girl named Sally, who is running away from the royal guards. She is the princess of the kingdom and is determined to go on a journey to experience the world. Sally requests his help, so Makoto redirects the guards to a different part of the city while she hides. The princess comes out when the coast is clear and introduces herself. She learns that Makoto is a traveler and takes him to her favorite bakery to thank him for his help. Makoto realizes that she is loved by the people. He has never seen a princess walking the streets without an escort in all the countries he has visited. Sally has a phobia of octopus, so she runs off screaming when she sees some getting sold. This leaves Makoto standing there confused. Later that evening, Sally brings Makoto to the castle for dinner. He's stunned by the spread before him. The princess wants him to show his gratitude for the food by telling her about his adventures. She confesses her wish to go on a journey, but Mikoto lets her know that she is living in a good kingdom. The place is peaceful, food is abundant, and the people are good. Sally is aware of this, but she can't stomach living out her life with the same mundane experiences. She excuses herself and gives Mikoto permission to stay in the castle, but she wants to hear about his journey the following day. Just outside the city, Yaki and a gang of ogres have set their eyes on the kingdom. Day breaks when Sally barges into Makoto's room. She is stunned to learn that the traveler is a boy because she thinks that he's more beautiful than her. They later walk around the kingdom and Sally is sure that the monsters in the outside world can't be that dangerous if a skinny, weak-looking boy like Makoto can travel solo. She even asks him to allow her to join him. He smiles at her comments and informs her that his journey is many times more dangerous than average. Makoto warns her that he might have to abandon her or she might meet her demise, but he plays it as a joke when the girl gets a little startled. During that interval, Yaki gets an audience with the king of Alderaki. He exposes himself as an ogre by displaying his horns before telling the king that they have come to take over. The ogres have already destroyed the neighboring nation. Yaki proposes a deal where the Alderaki kingdom sacrifices 30 people per month in exchange for not getting wiped out. One of the guards tries to attack Yaki after hearing the proposal, but his head gets popped like a grape. The ogre leaves on that note, but his confidence quickly turns into fear when he spots Mikoto walking around. He decides to abandon the plan and runs off, but unfortunately for him, Mikoto saw the ogre and a sinister look is seen on his face. He pursues his target as Sally gets distracted by the commotion caused by the guards. She goes to see her father, who finally gives her permission to go on her journey. Word reaches them that a group of ogres are outside the city. Sally's eyes glow as soon as she sees the monsters. Her body feels hot, and she gets the urge to get a closer look. All the while, Yaki joins his companions and informs them that they should flee at once. He reveals that Makoto wiped out his previous companions, and he is currently in the city. They don't stand a chance against the traveler, but before he can finish his explanation, Makoto stands right in front of them, and the princess joins soon after. Yaki quickly evacuates, but an ogre brute wants to fight. He attacks, but Makoto swiftly cuts off his hand. The traveler puts on a peach headband as his powers activate. The pupil in his eyes also changed to the same shape as the fruit. Sally watches in dismay as a joyous Mikoto mercilessly cuts down the ogres. He finishes off the brute by removing his head while stating that he is just an insignificant traveler who hunts ogres. Makoto's dog companion comes out with his bag after the beatdown. He cleans up and leaves for the next kingdom. Sally wants to know more about Makoto and tries to follow him, but she falls to her knees at the sight of the perished ogres. A month passes, and the princess still dreams of that day. That encounter transformed her, so she goes to see her father once more. She tells him that she is going on a journey and cuts her hair in front of him. The king can see the strength his daughter has gathered in a short time and gives his blessing. Sally gets ready and sets off. After a short time on the road, she stumbles on Frau, who has collapsed on the forest ground. She is confused by the rabbit creature before her and decides to keep her distance since she doesn't understand what it is. Frau's stomach lets off a rumble that forces Sally to give her a carrot. They introduce themselves and Frau reveals that she is not a monster, but rather a harefolk, which is a subsect of demi-human. Sally shows Frau a badly drawn picture of Mikoto, but she has not seen him. The princess prepares to continue her journey when Frau decides to join her to pay back her debt. Sally is apprehensive but allows her to follow till they reach the next village. One of the residences acts hostile towards Frau when he realizes that she is a demi-human. Apparently, they are not allowed in the village because they are also the mortal enemies of humans. Sally is disappointed and storms off. The duo regroup and have Frau wear a cloak to better conceal her identity. They sneak back into the village, but the local lord spots them before they reach an inn. Frau almost blows her cover when she gets excited seeing carrots that the local lord has harvested. He invites them to his mansion for some dinner since they are hungry travelers. Frau stays in her room while Sally eats with the lord. The village leader discloses that his respect for travelers is born from the one traveler who came and single-handedly slew all the monsters disturbing them. Sally gives a description of Mikoto and gets happy when he's confirmed to be the one who performed the service. She gets sad when the lord is not able to tell her which way he went. Her sadness gets worse when she learns that he also thinks badly of demi-humans. Sally is confused by their hostility because she doesn't sense any evil from Frau. The following morning, she is woken up by the villagers' cries because an animal-type ogre has attacked. She rushes over and has the same physiological reaction to the creature which paralyzes her for a moment. Frau jets in with 2 devastating kicks to save Sally, but she exposes herself in the process. Sally thanks her for the help. However, the villagers are not so grateful. The princess is stunned by their hostile behavior, despite just being saved by the demi-human. The local lord doesn't care and orders them to leave, but he's taken aback when Frau formally thanks him for the carrots. Sally hopes that that small gesture will change some of their negative opinions of demi-humans. The duo is stopped by Hawthorne just outside the village. He is the knight commander of the Rimdarl kingdom. He witnessed the incident and wants to take them in for questioning. Sally and Frau are cuffed and jailed when they arrive. Hawthorne joins them later and apologizes for the imprisonment, but they were a little worried since she was with a demi-human. He frees them and introduces himself, but Sally's attitude makes it clear that she's not happy with the way they were treated. Hawthorne confesses that it was unexpected to see a demi-human with the power to defeat an ogre barehanded. The commander also used to see demi-humans as monsters. However, he knows that Frau has a good heart after seeing her fighting to protect Sally and bowing in respect to the local lord. He gives the rabbit a fist bump of acknowledgement. The princess is happy to see this and demands that he feed them as an apology. They head into the town center, but the commander is only willing to pay for their lunch. Sally's phobia of octopus triggers again when she sees them being sold. Things take a dark turn when the high ogre called Carrot and her walrus partner attack. The blast from her eye destroys the city wall and wipes out some of the residents. Carrot shrinks after using her cannon, so she stays outside the city to recover while the walrus goes on a rampage. Sally's eye glows as she makes her way to the monster. Frau draws the attention of the walrus as Hawthorne escapes with the princess. The commander regroups with his men and orders them to evacuate everyone before they even think about fighting the creature. He realizes that Sally has slipped away during the commotion. All the while, Frau fights against the walrus, but she is outclassed. The princess returns to her downed friend's side. Her eyes start to glow again, and her heart beats like a drum, sounding like liberation. She lets out a sinister smile as the walrus throws a punch aimed to eliminate the pair. Sally's power fully awakens. One counterpunch blows the walrus hand up. Her pupils turn to a peach shape as she enjoys exacting pain on the ogre. The walrus is impressed that there are such strong foes around. He goes in for another punch with his other hand, but Sally easily blocks it. He is stunned that a human can possess such power and concludes that she is too dangerous to be left alive. So he shoots his cannon, which blows through the kingdom. He is only left confused further when the princess still stands unhurt. Frau regains consciousness and witnesses Sally cut down the creature with just one slice of her small sword. The walrus is in disbelief that a high ogre like him was defeated by a human. Sally collapses as soon as the creature meets its demise. During that interval, Carrot's rest outside the city is interrupted by Makoto. She thinks that he's just a normal human and prepares to take him out, but he cuts down the tree she sits behind to show that he's no joke. Makoto is willing to wait and talk with her until her powers have been restored. They can start fighting after that. She guesses that he must be the infamous Peach Boy that has been eliminating ogres and monsters. Carrot wants to know why he does this, and after a long debate, Mikoto thinks that both species hate each other. That is why there is some joy when they eliminate one another. Carrot regains her power and can tell that Mikoto is too dangerous to be allowed to live. She deploys some eyeballs and sends one to call for reinforcements, but Peach Boy extinguishes them using an energy strike. He pins himself by stabbing his foot and taunts Carrot to fire her cannon by promising that he will not move. She takes the bait and shoots it, but it does nothing to him. She shrinks again, leaving her defenseless. Mikoto sees his younger self when he sees her in that state, so instead of eliminating her, he takes her power by destroying her eye and horn. This effectively makes her as harmless as a human. He thinks that she will be rejected by both sides, which is a hell worse than death. Makoto's dog companion can talk and calls him out on his lies. The dog knows that Peach Boy spared Carrot because he saw himself in her. The dog also informs him that he's picking up Sally's scent coming from the kingdom. Mikoto decides to move on to the next place instead of going to see the princess. Later that evening, Sally wakes up with no recollection of what happened. Hawthorne comes in to inform her that she slew the ogre according to Frau. The rabbit has already recovered from her injuries and adds that it was an easy win for the princess. The commander tells Sally to follow him. Word has spread about the duo's feat, so they are now heroes of the kingdom. Hawthorne wants them to keep watch on an unconscious Carrot. They captured her outside the city, and they have confirmed her role in the attack. Sally is against them executing her before she wakes up. Hawthorne agrees, and has delayed the execution till she wakes up. He wants the duo to guard her till then. As soon as he leaves, Frau informs Sally that their prisoner is already awake. Carrot sits up and confirms her identity, but tries to attack them, but she's so weak that the punch does nothing to Frau. The princess finds her struggles cute. Carrot realizes that the source of her ogre powers has been destroyed. She calls Mikoto's name as she wonders why he let her live. Sally demands to know what happened between them. The princess is happy to know that he's nearby after hearing the story. She thanks Carrot for the information and advises her to keep her ogre origins a secret. Otherwise, they will execute her. Carrot doesn't mind that idea since she has lost her power. Sally decides to break her out and take her along with them after seeing the despair in her eyes. Frau kicks the cell gates down, and Carrot takes the offer only for survival purposes, and she makes it clear that they are not companions. Word of the escape reaches Hawthorne, and he's stunned that Sally and Frau are the ones leading the jailbreak. He blocks them at the hole in the wall and tries to talk them out of it, but Frau lands a kick that sends him outside as they run past. A sudden cannon blast rips through the kingdom and destroys it. Hawthorne is spared since he was just outside the wall. The commander falls to the ground in shock as the others are confused by what just happened. Carrot spots the high ogre named Somenki on the hill and figures that he must be the reinforcement that she requested for earlier. The masked ogre confirms this and reveals that some others were sent ahead of him, but they were all eradicated. We can assume that it was Mikoto who offed them. Somenki finds it hard to understand why Carrot and the walrus found it so difficult to destroy a single kingdom. He counts Carrot as one of the human survivors. She gets offended by this, but he points out how she has lost her powers, making her useless. Carrot falls into despair again after being reminded of her reality, but Sally steps in stating that their group accepts her. Carrot can't believe that the princess would stand up to an ogre as powerful as Somenki. He goes in to attack her when he learns that she defeated the walrus. He is stopped by Sumeragi, who communicates telepathically. The priest-looking guy states that harming Sally will have irritating consequences. He tells the masked ogre to return so that he can explain, so Somenki withdraws without harming the survivors. Sally turns her attention to Hawthorne as she makes sure that he's fine. The commander still hasn't processed what just happened and wonders if this is all a bad dream. A double slap from Sally and a pep talk brings him back to reality. He takes charge of the situation and suggests that they go to the closest town, which is a half-day's walk according to Carrot. The party soon arrive, and Hawthorne uses his influence to get the innkeeper to allow Frau to stay. Once they settle into their rooms, the commander gives Sally the little money he has left to find food for them to eat. He falls to the floor in despair as he's out of energy to put on a brave face in front of Sally. The thought of him losing everything is devastating. Frau cheers him up by assuring him that things will work out and seals it with a fist bump. He heads downstairs to get some water. Carrot uses this alone time to question Frau on his close relationship to the humans. The rabbit reveals the discrimination she faced along the road, but Sally was the only one that helped her. She suggests that Carrot officially join their party and travel with Sally. During that interval, the princess contemplates taking her broke companions back to her kingdom for a softer life. She runs into Mikoto as she contemplates everything that has happened so far. He sits with her and compliments her haircut. He can see that she has experienced a lot so far on her journey. Sally's main issues are the discrimination and contempt that happens between the different species. Makoto wants to hear her answer on how she thinks a human child whose parents were eliminated by a demi-human should feel. She gets a chill when she hears Peach Boy say he would hate demi-humans, and he would want to exterminate the demi-human responsible, along with the whole species. He jokes around saying that this was a hypothetical situation. They discuss some of the reasons for the prejudice. This leads Sally to decide the purpose of her journey. She wants to show the species that they can compromise a little to make their world more bearable. The princess has the conviction to work through the challenges she's going to face. She asks Mikoto to join him on her journey, but he rejects her offer because he likes to travel alone. They both hope that they continue to bump into each other along their travels. Mikoto quickly leaves and doesn't look back. He informs the dog that he would be tempted to take Sally's offer if he doesn't get out of there. Meanwhile, Somenki arrives at Sumeragi's location and eats one of the little humans as a snack. The masked ogre is stunned to learn that he would have been eliminated by the princess if he didn't retreat. He doesn't believe that a human can take him out. The priest states that Sally has the potential to grow as powerful as a Kushin, which is a level above a high ogre. Somenki backs down when he learns that his retreat was ordered by their superiors. All the while, Hawthorne is shocked to meet one of his men named Barrett outside the inn, who survived the destruction of their kingdom. Barrett states that he was guarding the library when a hooded lady came out and transported him to the forest just before the wipeout. Hawthorne is sure that it was Winnie who is the witch of the Western Forest. Sally expresses her wish to meet the witch when she learns that Hawthorne is acquainted with her. Winnie watches the party through her crystal ball and prepares for them. Carrot later confronts Sumeragi, who is lingering around. The priest wants her to continue to travel with her party and report to him. She can still use her eye technique, so he's expecting her to send an eye with information if anything happens. He later sends one of her subordinates named Milia on a mission based on what he has learnt. The party also arrive at the witch's house, and Sally is amazed by how big it is. As they enter, she notices the bar sign above the door, and the inside is arranged just as advertised. The princess gets startled when Winnie sneaks up and tells her to make herself at home. The witch states that they are her first guests in a while, and confesses to have been watching the party for some time. Sally gets straight to the point, and pleads with the witch to teach her magic. Before she gives her answer, Hawthorne wants to know why she only saved Bretta. The boy just happened to be nearby when she was escaping from Somenki's attack, so she took him along. Winnie lets it be known that she would have evacuated more people if she had more time. The commander thanks her for saving his man. Sally changes the topic back to magic. She wants to learn to get stronger, but Frau tells her that she's strong already, and reminds her that she defeated the walrus. Sally doesn't recall, and wants power that she can control, which will allow her to continue this dangerous journey. Winnie doesn't mind teaching Sally magic because she has witnessed her humanity. The witch outlines some conditions that Sally needs to agree to. The princess must keep what she learns a secret. She must unquestionably obey Winnie. And lastly, she must pay $1 million. Everyone in their world can use magic with the right teacher. This makes it easy to abuse, so these rules are a safeguard. The party doesn't have that kind of money, but Winnie is willing to accept what they have. Hawthorne refuses because they need it to proceed. Sally doesn't like feeling this helpless, so she asks the commander to teach her swordsmanship. They head out to begin the lessons, and it is revealed that Hawthorne was the best swordsman in his kingdom. The princess doesn't hold back and starts attacking. As they spar, Carrot assesses their latent magic power. Hawthorne's is average, but Sally's is abnormal. After a long day of training, Winnie offers some spare rooms for them to stay in, but they must clean it themselves. She pulls the commander to the side as the others go to clean the room, and shows him how Sally defeated the walrus and the power she possesses. Later that night, it is revealed that Frau and Winnie are old friends. The witch is surprised that Frau has cast aside her power and taken the guise of a harefolk. Winnie is not judging her decision, and has even made her a replacement mallet. Frau asks the witch to teach Sally magic. She agrees, but wants the payment later. The princess is excited to hear that she will be learning magic the following day, and is aware that she will have to pay when she gets the money. Sally is instructed to run to build her stamina since magic drains a lot of it. The princess reluctantly goes on the jog. Carrot watches on confused because she is sure that a witch on Winnie's level should be able to detect the immense power within Sally. The princess is then told to spar against Hawthorne right after the run. The fight will end when she can land a hit on him. He promises not to raise his hand against her during the bout. As they spar, the commander recalls the devilish look in Sally's eyes when she took down the walrus. His body reacts to his fear, and he trips her to the ground. The witch watches the two interact, and it triggers memories of her and Hawthorne's grandfather. Their training is interrupted by the lizard and elf folk that live in the forest. They wish to remove the barrier holding the high ogre at the southeast side of the forest. Their goal is to defeat it. Both species have been training for this for some years now. The lack of rain plus the calm winds make it the perfect opportunity to take it out. Winnie agrees to lift the barrier if they allow Sally and her party to join the battle. During that interval, Milia awakens the tree ogre. Everyone gathers at the battleground the following day, and it is revealed that the lizard and elf folk don't like each other. But this ogre threatens them all, so they must put their differences aside and face it together. The recent destruction of Rimdal Kingdom has made that clear to them. Hawthorne introduces himself to the leader of the elf people. He calls him out on his plan to abandon the lizard folk after noticing that all the elves are out of harm's way. The elf boss confesses to this, which shocks Sally. She tries to protest this, but he doesn't care about her opinion. Milia grabs everyone's attention when she comes out of the woods. The nun gets annoyed when she notices Carrot with the humans and wonders if she has betrayed her kind. Sally comes to her defense, prompting Milia to attack with her hair powers. Frau intercepts like a well-paid celebrity bodyguard. The giant tree ogre awakens despite the witch not finishing removing the barrier. The elf boss is stunned because he doesn't recall the sealed ogre being that big. Winnie asks everyone to escape while she holds it back. Sally refuses to abandon her. Meanwhile, Sumenki and Sumeragi are nearby watching. They spot Mikoto and the masked ogre mistaken him for a woman and attacks, but Peach Boy takes his head swiftly. He introduces himself to Sumeragi, who quickly figures him to be the one eliminating his kind. Back at the battlefield, the tree complains about his size as Hawthorne organizes everyone for the assault. Sally makes everyone to pause in their tracks when she shouts her demand for them all to make peace. The tree gets annoyed by the request and apprehends her. He explains how ogres are made from human hatred. Their creator captures this hatred into a vessel which is called an ogre, meaning they have an innate hatred for humans, so there can never be peace between the two races. Sally feels like a little understanding can be achieved if they talked. The wood monster can't believe how ignorant the princess is and starts to crush her. Frau's attempt to help is blocked by Milia. During that interval, Makoto learns that Sumenki's true form is his mask. That is why he's still alive, even though his head has been taken off. Peach Boy prepares to destroy it, but Sumeragi closes the distance in an instant and asks him to stop. Mikoto throws the head away and attacks the priest when he learns who he is, but the blade is stopped with a pinch of his fingers. Sumeragi puts a pause to the fighting to propose his idea of peace between humans and ogres with a path to coexistence. His proposal stuns Mikoto. Back at the battlefield, Sally activates her powers and breaks out of the bind. She refuses to let hatred defeat her. The princess is in control this time, and she has the urge to eliminate Milia when they lock eyes. The tree ogre reveals that Sally's power is made from the opposing force to the hate the ogres are made of. The wood monster states that it is a dangerous power that could destroy all ogres. He suggests that the princess should eliminate herself if she really wishes to unite both races. She takes a different path and demands that the ogres stand down and make peace, or she will slay them. She has learnt through her journey that in the situation where some things can't be resolved with words alone, her power will be used instead. Milia attacks with her hair, but Sally breaks free and lands a devastating punch to her stomach. She then turns her attention to the tree and takes it out with a powerful punch because it can't be reasoned with. The lizard people bow to Sally in gratitude for saving their home. The elf leader also gives his thanks, but in a more pompous manner. She just wants them to get along, but she collapses from exhaustion. Milia uses the chance to excuse herself, but she looks badly injured. Later that night, the elves and lizards meet at the witch's bar to celebrate their victory. Carrot slips off and gives her report to Sumeragi. Makoto rests near a campfire, and the dog can't believe that he's considering Sumeragi's proposal. Peach Boy makes it clear that he's rather putting his trust in Sally, since she also has a similar goal. That is the only reason he stood down. The princess wakes up a couple of days after the battle and makes her way straight to the bar. She is stunned to see Hawthorne chatting away with the lizard and elf bosses. She is overjoyed to see 3 different species sat around the same table talking. The commander informs her that they are showing him the best way to get through the forest and what lies beyond. Sally informs Winnie that she must leave as soon as possible. She has noticed that her presence seems to attract ogres, and someone is sending them to test her power. The last thing she wants is to give those in the forest more headache. With her abilities, she is sure that she will be fine alone. Her party assure her that they will continue the journey with her. The witch is also offered a spot on the team, but she rejects the offer but informs them that the bar will always be open to them. The party gather their things and continue their journey the following day. Brett stays with Winnie as her assistant. Meanwhile, at their next destination, there is a vampire-type ogre attacking ladies at night. The party have already been warned about the situation when they pass through one of the checkpoints. Sally suggests they camp outside the town when they arrive, but Hawthorne thinks that the princess will be fine since the vampire only goes after beautiful women. He gets a punch to the face for his comment. The group enter the town, but they immediately sense the hostility of the residents towards Frau. Sally wants to confront them, but Hawthorne holds her back and urges they continue to an inn. Carrot wants the princess to use her powers to punish the ignorant humans. However, she informs her that her powers don't work against mankind. Carrot gets irritated hearing this and concludes that Sally is like all the other people. Hawthorne is sure that the inn will not give them a room if they see Frau, so the rabbit decides to go to the market to get a few things. Hawthorne and Sally will sneak her into the room once they get one. Carrot leaves with Frau and is disappointed in Sally's inaction to how their friend is being treated. The duo walks through the stalls when Frau sees her favorite vegetables. The vendor gets annoyed that a demi-human has shown interest in his produce. He reluctantly takes payment for the goods from Frau, but throws the change on the floor, and Carrot is disgusted to see this. Meanwhile, the other two get a room at the inn, and Hawthorne is sure that Carrot will not be able to stomach the treatment Frau is likely to face at the market. Sally rushes out to go get them. Frau and Carrot have already left the shopping area and are sat somewhere quieter. Carrot is stunned to learn that this is how Frau gets treated most of the time, but the rabbit is used to it now. People like Sally make her feel like things can get better, but Carrot doesn't share that sentiment. She is sure that the princess will always side with the humans and feels like Frau doesn't understand how dangerous Sally is. Carrot storms off and gets even more annoyed when she hears some of the locals talking badly about the rabbit. She knows the identity of the vampire terrorizing the town and tracks him down, hoping that he will eliminate everyone in the city for her. He's also a high ogre. Carrot explains to him how she lost her power. The vampire gets excited to learn that such strong humans have emerged. He wonders how Sally would taste like. Carrot only wants him to wipe out the town. The vampire hopes that she doesn't want him to spare Sally since she's also a human. The bloodsucker feels like the princess is a threat to ogre kind, so she must be taken out. Carrot is not comfortable with the death of Sally. Frau interrupts the discussion and tries to stop the vampire from going after the princess. Her attacks don't faze the bloodsucker. He casually bites her and blows her up with his cannon. Sally can feel the ogre nearby and arrives just in time to see Frau's top part missing. The princess dashes in and lands a punch that does a lot of damage to the vampire. He counters with a blood spike, but it doesn't work on Sally since her body is resistant to ogre power. The bloodsucker uses his blood on her clothes and binds her to the ground. Sally breaks her upper body free, but her legs are still restricted. The vampire closes in to finish her off, but Carrot shoots a blast at him and refuses to let another companion meet their demise. The monster prepares a huge blood ball, hoping to eliminate both ladies with it. Meanwhile, Frau finds herself in heaven. The angel Atla is surprised to see her, and from their conversation it seems like this is not Frau's first time there. The rabbit requests to be revived again and wants to use some of her power this time. Atla is worried that her body will not be able to withstand it. Frau only needs it long enough to land one hit, so Atla grants her wish. The rabbit returns to the world as her body regenerates along with the activation of her power, which shocks everyone. Frau's eyes turn red. A dark aura engulfs her hand, while also creating some wings. The vampire notes that Frau's blood didn't taste like hairfolk. The rabbit wastes no time as she nullifies the blood ball and lands a blow that puts a hole in the vampire's chest. She collapses afterward. Meanwhile, the bloodsucker reveals that he loved a human in the past, but he lost control one night and eliminated her. He has lived in despair since then. He wishes he lost his powers just like Carrot did, so that he could have been with his love. He's ready to die and reunite with her. With his last breath, he wishes Carrot a long life as they leave with an unconscious Frau. Day breaks, and she wakes up in the inn, still in her strange form. Atla is by her side and assures her that she has not met her demise again. The angel updates her that the girls have gone to get her some food, and Hawthorne is on guard outside the room. Frau is happy to hear that her companions were not hostile to see her current form. Atla doesn't think she will last long in the world looking like that, so she withdraws the power which returns her to normal. The angel is gone by the time Hawthorne comes to check on her after hearing their voices. Meanwhile, Carrot uses her time alone with Sally to confront her about using her powers only on ogres. This leads to an argument in front of the vegetable vendor, who publicly humiliated Frau the previous day. He recognizes Carrot and goes on a prejudice rant about how dangerous demi-humans are. Sally doesn't hesitate and knocks him out for talking badly about her companion. Carrot now understands the kind of human Sally is and doesn't think she's a hypocrite anymore. She recalls the other instances where the princess defended ogres that were in need. Carrot also accepts her own status as someone who is not an ogre or a human. In that interim, Atla comes across the vampire's soul, and he's watching his body getting burned by the residents. The people celebrate the defeat of the monster. The angel sends him to the spirit world once the show is over. Back at the inn, the party are happy to see that Frau is fine. The others notice that Carrot has changed and seems freer. The party use this downtime to joke around a little. Later that night, Mikoto passes through the back route since it's the shortest way to the next town. The dog is sure that he's using this path and hopes to encounter danger. As they talk, Peach Boy notices someone following him. He confronts the person and finds a frightened Milia. He sets up camp, but the nun is apprehensive to get close to the sword-wielding guy and his talking dog. Her hunger forces her to join them. Mikoto gives her a bowl of soup, and they exchange pleasantries as they eat. Peach Boy prepares to eliminate her as soon as she goes to sleep since he knows she's an ogre. The dog questions his actions because it's clear that Milia has lost her memories. Mikoto doesn't care, and even raises his blade at the dog, but it bites the weapon. A stern warning about bringing dishonor to his name snaps Mikoto out of his frenzy as an image of a man flashes in his mind. He apologizes to the dog and gets some rest. They continue the following day and encounter beast-type ogres which Mikoto deals with. Milia apologizes for being useless because he must fight while protecting her. The dog notes that there are between 10 to 20 creatures still lurking around. The discussion about ogres forces Milia to get a flashback of the tree monster, which gives her a headache. The trio fight their way through the danger and can see the city gates ahead of them. Mikoto suggests Milia go to a church when they get into town. Since she is a nun, it might trigger a memory. Their conversation is interrupted by a nameless mid-level ogre. He has been ordered to capture Milia, but she is confused by the whole situation. Mikoto informs Mr. Mid that the nun has lost her memory, but this only annoys the ogre. Milia regains her memories as he outlines her failure during the last battle. She gets enraged that a nameless would challenge her. He quickly closes the distance and cuts her. Mikoto doesn't mind two ogres eliminating each other now that the lady has her memories. She's badly injured and knows that she can't defeat Mr. Mid, so she decides to remove her horn. Since she's not an ogre anymore, she demands that Mikoto help a nun in need. She collapses from the blood loss and regrets that she didn't get to meet Sally again so that she could scold her. Milia later jolts awake shouting to be saved. Peach Boy informs her that he already has. She finds herself bandaged up. He tells her that Mr. Mid realized that he was outmatched and retreated. Milia smiles and thanks him for saving her. She wants to join him on his journey and is stunned to learn that he's not a girl. Soon after, the party also find themselves at the next town, and Hawthorne enters the martial arts tournament being held there. The commander even wins his first fight with ease, but the ladies give him a weak applause. He is a little annoyed when he realizes that they will not be staying to watch his other matches. Carrot thinks he's doing it for the grand prize of 300 gold pieces. However, Frau corrects her, stating that he's doing it because of his gallant heart. He wants to test himself and get stronger. Sally cuts their talk short when she spots Mikoto among the crowd. She catches up to him, and he gets her some water to quench her thirst. He apologizes for the cheap drink, but that is all he can afford for now. Milia is a big eater and has bankrupted him with her large meals. Sally is sure that he would win the tournament if he entered. It is revealed that Milia is the one who is participating as she's shown knocking out her opponent. She is a little disappointed by how much weaker she has become without her ogre power. Later that night, Mr. Mid bows and begs for Sumeragi's forgiveness, since he was not able to bring back Milia as ordered. The priest understands that he had to back down given the matchup. He also has an orb that allows him to watch events transpire from a distance. Giusilino interrupts and demands that Mr. Mid pick her up. He tries to dismiss her since she looks like a child. Somenki warns the nameless ogre to know his place. We come to learn that she is the god of masks and the creator of Somenki. Mr. Mid begs for forgiveness as soon as he realizes that she is a Kishin. They make their way to a summoning circle being drawn by her minion. This is to allow their kind who are stationed across the land to pass through for the 100 ogres gathering. This is an annual meeting where they discuss their affairs and plans for taking over the land. Sumeragi gets straight to the point and shows a map depicting how much land they have lost recently. The others have noticed that there are fewer high ogres in the gathering this year. Yaki reveals that this is the work of Peach Boy. They are all stunned to learn that a single human has done so much damage to ogre kind. Yaki confirms the strength of Peach Boy and puts it above the power of a human army. Sumeragi lists all the high ogres who have been taken out by him. Todoroki steps forward. He wants to know why the priest is stoking fear in the others so unnecessarily. He could have suggested they work together to defeat the threat. Sumeragi pulls out Somenki's head and reveals that he was taken out with one slice. He didn't suggest they band together to fight Peach Boy, because that will not be effective against him. The priest tells Todoroki that Carrot was one of the victims of Peach Boy. The lad lets out a bust of lightning out of anger because he loved her. He promises to eliminate Makoto with his own hand and storms off. Their meeting comes to an end. Giusilino returns Somenki to a mask when everyone disperses. She is interested in Sumeragi's goal and is willing to help. Mr. Mid notices the priest's smile and doesn't think he is working for the benefit of humans or ogres, but rather he has some other objective. Day breaks in the city, and Giusilino bumps into Hawthorne, who is preparing for the next round of fights. She came to see if ogres can get along with humans. The two have a nice talk and she wants to be friends with him. He lectures her on how friendship works, which she finds amusing. Their interaction ends when she reunites with the priest. He suggests that she go cheer him on in his next bout as a thanks for keeping her company. He goes to the venue oblivious to the fact that Chusalino is the creator of the monster that destroyed his kingdom. Milia also gets ready, but she's disappointed to learn that Mikoto will not be watching, but he wishes her all the best. Meanwhile, the commander squares up for his next match and Chusalino is there to support. Sally can't stand the noise, so waits outside where she is joined by Sumeragi, who also has the same sentiment. The priest introduces himself and asks for her help, stating that he also seeks peace between humans and ogres. Makoto interjects and walks over like an old lady crossing the living room. He tells Sally to get away from him as he's a high ogre. Sumeragi confirms this and states that he has great rank, power, and influence. He offers his hand to Sally, saying that it's the reason he can make such promises. With Sally's power, he's sure that they will be able to realize their dream. Makoto makes it clear that he would never allow such a world to exist. His hate for ogres will never be quenched. He has sworn to kill every ogre in existence. Peach Boy also offers his hand, wanting her to join him in exterminating all the ogres. The princess is not sure who to choose. After a moment of indecision, she walks over and takes Makoto's hand. Despite not agreeing with his extreme goal, she hopes she can stop him as they travel. Peach Boy draws his hand away and says that she can't choose him. He then runs off looking upset. Sumeragi tells her to go after him and learn about his motivation. The princess catches up, and Makoto apologizes for making such an offer while aware of her dream of coexistence. Sally makes it clear that she wants to go with him. He hints that his hatred for ogres comes from the losses he has experienced by their hands. He can't help but eliminate them when he encounters them. He gives Sally a sinister look when she asks what he would do if she stood against him. An explosion at the wall causes everyone to pause. The residents panic and run when they realize that it's Todoroki and his allies. One of them is asleep, but they put him down because no one can harm him while he's sleeping. The others scatter to cause some mayhem to lure Peach Boy out. Word of the attack spreads around the city, resulting in the tournament being cancelled. The guards ask for the cooperation of the fighters. They are offered a 500 gold reward for the head of an ogre. Hawthorne already guesses that the enemies are high level from the explosion. He knows he can't defeat such monsters, and is sure that Sally will deal with it. The commander still goes out to help, and is joined by a fighter he defeated in the previous round. He is sadly zapped by Todoroki, who reveals that the attack was supposed to take Hawthorne out too, but the other guy took all the damage because he's so big. Todoroki assumes that the commander is Peach Boy. He's not sure who Todoroki is referring to, but he draws his sword looking to get revenge for his colleague's demise. The ogre fires another lightning strike, but Hawthorne uses his metal sword to attract the attack. This makes the blade unusable. Todoroki is impressed with his quick thinking and prepares another assault. Meanwhile, Sally is trying to figure out what is going on when Sumeragi joins her again. She pleads with him to order the ogres to stand down, but he refuses because she rejected him. He also reveals that Hawthorne is facing the strongest out of the 4 ogres who are attacking the city. The priest has no intention of letting her go to help him. Sally throws a punch, but it does nothing because her powers have not activated. Sumeragi lands a devastating hit as she wonders if he's an ogre. He calls her out for relying on an unknown power. In that interval, Carrot hears the commotion and checks the situation with her eye ability. She's stunned to see the ogres. She informs Frau of the situation. The rabbit is to go help Hawthorne while she goes to speak to the other ogres to try and talk them down. The bird ogre spots Frau and dives on her, but she manages to block. She tries to counter, but she misses and gets pinned down. The bird hits her with a point-blank cannon. Meanwhile, Carrot goes to confront the long-armed ogre. He laughs when he sees her and reveals that they were told that she had met her demise. So Todoroki led them to get revenge. Carrot is sure that the attack on the city will stop once she shows herself to Todoroki. The long-armed monster doesn't want them to meet and states that he's going to eliminate Carrot because she's with the coexistence faction. He stretches like a bootleg Luffy and knocks her back with a palm strike. It's disclosed that this is the name given to the ogres who sympathize with Sumeragi's goal of living with humans. Carrot tries to retaliate, but her attacks are too weak. She can only block as the long arm strikes. Things switch to Hawthorne, who dodges the lightning. He only has a wooden sword, so he runs into an alleyway to get some cover. Todoroki follows him, but he gets ambushed when the commander hits him with the practice sword. He falls unconscious for a moment. This triggers a flashback to how Carrot gave him the cap that covers his horn. Todoroki wakes up livid and unleashes all his power. Hawthorne knows he doesn't stand a chance. However, he doesn't back down and goes headfirst into the attack, Winnie appears out of nowhere and blocks the lightning blast to his shock. Meanwhile, Mikoto finds himself outside the city near the sleeping boy. He suddenly falls unconscious just as he's about to eliminate his target. We get a flashback which starts with Mikoto's master Hiko. He was adopted by a couple who found him floating down the river in a peach. After they raised him, Hiko set off on a journey to find his real parents. His adopted dad gave him a sword for protection along the way. While on his travels, he stumbled on the talking dog who was starving, so he gave it some of his food. The dog was moved by his kindness and decided to follow him. The duo stopped at a village to eat when it was attacked by an ogre. Hiko stood up to the monster, and to everyone's surprise, he defeated it while coining the name Peach Boy. This encounter awakened the power within himself. Word spread about the human who could defeat ogres. So he took on the side quest of eliminating the monsters. This led him to Ogre Island. His goal was to defeat the leader of the monsters in hopes that it would end their assault on humans. After a long battle, he defeated the boss and drove them out of the land to never return. The boss warned him that his downfall would bring a Kishin to the area. Hiko returned to a hero's welcome, as the people thought that their land was freed from ogres. He was worried about the Kishin that the boss mentioned. He made himself a home deep in the mountains waiting for it to appear. One day, Makoto's father came to Hiko and pled to be eliminated. He explained that he's an ogre who infiltrated the village. He fell in love with a human and had a child, but he ended up devouring his wife, and he feared that he will eat Makoto too if he was not stopped. The original Peach Boy reluctantly ended his life. He went to the village to check on Makoto, only to find him getting attacked. The villagers found a horn on his head. Hiko took the kid in and confessed to eliminating his father. He gave Makoto his sword to get revenge, but the lad was not strong enough, so his blow didn't do any damage. Hiko asked him to stay and get strong enough to get his revenge. Mikoto overheard Hiko and the dog talking about what really happened to his parents. The trio lived together for a while without incident, and Hiko taught Makoto the skills needed to survive. They soon became like brothers. However, their days of bliss came to an end when Noburega, the god of laws, appeared. Around the same time, Hiko presented himself again for Makoto to get his revenge, but the lad refused as he knew the truth. Hiko's power alerted him to the arrival of the ogres. That night, he had a heart-to-heart with Makoto and made him promise to smile no matter how hard things got. Makoto later got a feeling that something was wrong and went out to look for Hiko. The dog tried to stop him, but he slipped past it to meet a completely defeated Hiko. Noburega had left him without arms or legs. Makoto was devastated at the sight. Hiko gave him some parting words of advice and passed his sword down to him. Hiko's power left his body and entered Makoto's as he died. Noburega fired the finishing blast, and he was surprised to see that Makoto was still alive. He casually cut the Kishin. The activation of his power caused his horn to grow, but he broke it off. The flashback ends as Milia and the dog recover a sleeping Makoto. As they leave, the dog reveals that the lad has had a hole in his heart since the day Hiko lost his life. He is sure that no amount of ogre slaying can fill it. Only when Makoto finds someone to share a smile with can he heal. In that interim, Winnie berates Hawthorne for his reckless actions as she hits him on the head with a wrapped-up blade. She then turns to Todoroki and introduces herself when he demands to know who she is. The witch makes it clear that she has no intention of fighting. She came to give Hawthorne the weapon after seeing him doing battle with a wooden sword in her crystal ball. Hawthorne notices the sword has a heartbeat as soon as he unwraps it. Mr. Mid and Giselian watch from the rooftop. The god of mask remarks on how dangerous the weapon is. Winnie divulges that the sword is called Air. It is a treasure from heaven, and Frau used to wield it. The weapon can cut through anything, but doing so depends on the skill of its user. The commander is confident that he will not lose after hearing this. Todoroki finds it amusing that a lump of steel can give him such confidence. He makes a blade out of lightning to test the witch's claims. All the while, the dust settles from the bird's blast, and he's shocked to see Frau standing after that attack. The rabbit can feel that Atlo left her with some power, as the dark aura covers her arms and legs. She defeats the bird in 2 swift hits. The first takes out its wings and the second the head, but Frau collapses before she can get to Hawthorne. During that interval, Carrot still struggles against the Temu Luffy. She retreats to an area near the city wall. The monster thinks he's got her at a dead end and attacks, but she dodges, causing his hand to get stuck in the wall. This was all part of Carrot's plan. With his movement restricted, she hits him with all her power, which takes him down. Before the life leaves the long arm, he confesses that the other reason he wanted to eliminate her was because he was worried that Todoroki would join her if he knew she was alive. He didn't want to lose him since he was the only one who accepted him. Carrot cries hearing this. Sally is still being held by Sumeragi, but he lets her pass when he sees her resolve to save her friends regardless of her powers not working. The priest wanted to know what kind of person she was considering how dangerous her ability is. The princess lets him know that she will be the one extending her hand to him once she figures things out with Mikoto. Sumeragi holds his head in frustration as Sally runs off. Hawthorne and Todoroki clash, and the commander's blade comes out on top. Todoroki looks at his horn cover and gets reminded that Carrot gave it to help him control his powers. Before that, he was shunned by everyone because he accidentally electrocuted people with just a touch. The thought of losing Carrot triggers him further, causing his lightning to get aggressive. Todoroki shoots his final attack, but Hawthorne puts his faith in the blade, allowing him to cut the lightning with ease. Todoroki also gets hit, and he acknowledges the commander's strength before falling. Mr. Mid can't believe that a human was so brave against such a powerful foe. Jusalian is a fangirl of Hawthorne and calls him cool. Todoroki later regains consciousness after being saved by the party and starts crying when he learns that Carrot is still alive. As those two have their moment, Hawthorne, Sally, and Winnie talk below. The commander confesses that he didn't tell Todoroki that he wasn't Peach Boy because he wanted to eliminate him. His resentment for ogres is still there. Sally is hurt to hear this, but she tells him that they can find a way to extinguish the hate without fighting. The princess's response amuses Winnie. The witch suggests that the party travel east, where they will find a country called Legidia. It is the only place in the world where discrimination is outlawed. Meanwhile, Mikoto jolts awake, and he frantically rambles on about eliminating ogres to make his master happy. The dog snaps him out of it when he's about to attack Milia as she returns from the market. She already knew that he would wake up in a bad mood. The sleeping ogre gives nightmares to anyone he puts to sleep. The nun also informs Mikoto that the tournament was cancelled when he asks about the prize money. A couple of days pass and Winnie returns to her bar after helping the party. Todoroki refuses to join the group and prefers to walk his own path in seeking coexistence. He's happy that Carrot has found people she can trust and a place where she belongs. Todoroki meets Sumeragi outside the city and berates him for lying about Carrot's death. This led to his other comrades losing their lives. The priest stops the rant by piercing Todoroki with his hand. He tells the lad to say hello to the people in heaven for him. He tosses the body like trash and goes to his next destination, which is also Legidia. He's happy that things are going as planned. The ogre that's always sleeping is finally awake and sits on the city wall looking like someone stole his lunch money. The party also leave the city and head to the country of outlawed discrimination. That brings the series to an end.